It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we have a team put together purely by random. This is what you would expect to be a potential meta team, but the way we built it is by using the auto button. Now we did make one change, and one change only, and that was the third treasure. For whatever reason, auto went ahead and put the pin cushion as the third treasure on my auto list. When you look at the treasures, it was treasure number 2, but it put it in the third slot. So it didn't pick the robes, it didn't pick the feather, it didn't pick the staff, nothing like that. So there wasn't really anything signifying that it needed to be a certain position. I even tried changing from rarity to power sorting and to level. None of that mattered. It just picked these 5 cookies. So why it's picking that, I don't know. I wish I could at least give you that answer. But what's interesting is it's not a terrible setup. So if we look at it, we've got the monocle, we've got remedy, and we got the scroll. Like I said, I put the scroll there myself instead of pincushion. But we've got yam, espresso, and vampire. So 3 magic candy users, which means it should already be pretty powerful. And we've got dark cacao and oyster. And this team is toting over 2 million power. Now that is because we have high DPS units for 4 different units running high powered attack toppings or critical toppings. And so because of that, that leads to a potentially very powerful team. Now, what's concerning about this auto team is that there's not really a healer. We've got monocle, yes. We've got the remedy, yes. That's true. But we don't have an actual healer. So the question is this team powerful enough with 2 million power to just break through and punch through most teams anyway? That's what we're about to find out. So I'm not coming at you with a video of a team that I know is going to be doing good. This is just an experiment because auto's different for everybody. So I can't really say hit the auto button and pray for good luck, because that's not a guarantee. Instead, we're going to take out what the game wants to think is the best setup for the auto team. We'll see how it goes. We'll give it a few shots against a few different teams. We'll try not to fight anybody that's too weak against us to give it a fair shot. So the remedy is going to be probably affecting either dark cacao or purple yam. We quickly lose espresso and oyster. And we have some pretty good shots coming in from vampire and dark cacao. But overall, there's not much damage resistance or full-on setup for us to outlive the synergy of the opponent's team. And let's see who was able to shine. So we had really good setup from dark cacao. Pretty good damage from espresso. Not bad from vampire overall. And then because of no healer, we didn't have any real potential from yam. And because of no clock, we didn't have much damage from oyster. So, it didn't work out that time. At least not against the meta teams. Let's see if it can beat a team who has lower toppings or lower treasures. Let's see if it does have that potential. And if it does, that means it could be just a potential bait team, because you could come in with synergy and better treasure setups to potentially win afterwards if someone attacked you. And it looks like it does do the job there. So what was the difference? They had a level 10 scroll. Only 2 levels difference. And they had the level 5 monocle treasure. But overall, their damage didn't really stand up to par. As far as healing, not much of it to really say much either. And their team running kind of similar to us with no real healer. Yes, they do have healing going, but not much. This one should be interesting because it's got an actual healing setup and a feather. But we'll see if our damage can just completely outweigh them, which in this case it will. So, I would say the auto button, still pretty bad at putting synergistic teams together, but pretty good at bait teams. I mean, I'm sure that if we fight something like this with Cream Unicorn, that we're just going to get absolutely trounced. Still worth the try, still fun. because sometimes we get some really good damage going through, and we haven't lost everybody just yet. Maybe instead of the remedy, if they had given us like the insignia treasure, maybe there would have been a little bit better results. But overall, pretty strong damage from most of our users. Not enough to outweigh their healer though. So as you can see, just doesn't really work. Now if we make any changes, I would say that we could probably keep this 2 million power team and put the insignia instead of remedy, or put the clock at the very least to try and get more activations. But analytically, the reason that this auto doesn't really work, at least not yet, maybe in the future it will, it doesn't think about defense, it doesn't think about healing, it doesn't think about activations of skills, and it doesn't think about timing. Those are 4 very important things when it comes to building a team. So if you want to build a team, even like this could work. This could work. Let's make that change, in fact. Let's go ahead and make that change. Since we know for a fact that we don't have any healer, and we know for a fact that we need more skill activations, let's just make a couple changes and show you the difference. So we'll still fight them at a team. We won't make that change, but we made some treasure changes and 1 topping change, and it should make quite a world of difference. I don't think it's going to guarantee us the win, but definitely going to make a difference. That insignia does quite a lot when you're not running any healers. Monocle's really good too, but to run Monocle and to run it effectively, you need to have some very high damage resistance cookies. So as you can see here, yet again, still not enough to keep up with these high meta teams. Their synergies, their defenses, their healing, their skill activations, their timing, all amazing. We put up a better fight, for sure. We got way more damage out, for sure. But it still just isn't enough to compete. So when you're building these teams, and when I build teams to show you guys too, please remember, that is the 4 main things I'm thinking about. How can you defend against oncoming attacks? If you need to. You might not need to in some instances. How can you time things to work in your favor? Because if everyone tries to activate at the exact same time, they're just silently paused and waiting. Yes, that can be helpful for when you want burst things to happen, but their animations are too slow. You're just going to be waiting. And so that can be a hindrance in some cases. How can you think about healing? It's very hard to run a team with 0 healing whatsoever. And I mean like no healing treasures, no healing cookies. To run that type of team, you need to have an absolutely ridiculously fast burst team put together for it to work. Usually the scam team was what did that for the longest time. And that's because they were able to take out the opponent so quickly that it didn't matter what their health was. But even over time, people started to run the insignia with the scam team because it just wasn't enough anymore. And that's because as the HP rises up, as the damage resistance rises up, as critical resistance rises up, and defense naturally grows, it becomes harder to build a team that can just completely trounce a team instantly, unless they're over-leveled in comparison. So, those are those important things you want to think of when trying to build a team, trying to put it together. Doesn't matter what game mode you're going for. PvP especially, but all the other game modes, this does matter too. So I hope this video is at least helpful for you. As you can see, it doesn't really hold up in PvP meta, at least not the High Masters. Completely fine as a bait team. For sure will work. But then make sure you have a team that's synergized to come back. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm looking very forward to the upcoming update with the new Legendary and Caviar. It's going to be so much fun. And I am so excited to show you all the teams that I'm thinking of running for it. Thank you and have a wonderful night.